It's time for America Outdoors Radio. The fast-paced hour of outdoors radio ahead is not only awesome, but unlike those other shows, you can actually sleep in for this one. Better still, we've got a special Pacific Northwest edition for you, sponsored by Northwest Sportsman Magazine. You won't find this version of America Outdoors Radio anywhere else. It's the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio. Brought to you by Fox Sports 1380 KRKO.
Welcome to the show. The Lake Stevens Kokanee Derby is coming up fast. As a matter of fact, it's taking place May 20th, and Mark Spada from the Snohomish Sportsman's Club is going to join us at the bottom of the hour to tell you more about it. You'll want to stick around for the end of our broadcast, too, because Mark's coming back with some tips to help you catch some of these kokanee on Derby Day, and maybe you'll catch the big one and win $1,000. But before we talk kokanee, it's time to share what's hot here in the Pacific Northwest. And shrimping is definitely hot today because this is opening day in much of Puget Sound. Whether you like them on the barbie, in a shrimp cocktail, or deep fried, it is game time. Spot shrimp are the largest shrimp in Puget Sound and can grow up to 9 inches long. That's what you call jumbo size. Your limit is 80 shrimp per day this month. Here's what's open. Hood Canal Shrimp District, Marine Area 12, opens up from 9 a.m. It's open till 1 p.m. Today, the 10th, the 17th, and the 20th. The same days are open in Discovery Bay, Marine Area 6, from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. In Marine Areas 4, east of the Bonilla-Tatoosh line, 5 and 6, excluding Discovery Bay. It's open daily beginning today. The recreational spot shrimp season closes when the quota is attained or September 15th, whichever comes first. I'm pretty sure we won't make it to September. Marine Areas 7 East and 7 South are open daily from the 6th through the 21st. Marine Area 7 West open daily starting today. That one also stays open until the 15th of September or when the quota is obtained. Marine Areas 8-1, 8-2, and 9 open today and May 17th, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Also open today and today only from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Marine Areas 10 and 11, as well as Marine Area 13. But in Marine Area 13, you also get to go out from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on May 20th. Taking the boat back to shore and loading it up and heading to eastern Washington, we check in with our sponsor, Mardon Resort at Potholes Reservoir, where we learn the bass fishing continues to be very good for anglers fishing in the sand dunes for largemouth, averaging 2 to 3 pounds. Walleye are beginning to show in Lynn Coulee for anglers jigging grubs or trolling spinner rigs in 12 to 18 feet of water, and it's a good time to fish for channel catfish. Several have been caught as of late out of the reservoir, both in the sand dunes and in Lynn Coulee, and one angler, Mike Morrow from Marysville, landed an 18-pounder. As you can tell, it's a great time to book a trip at Mardon Resort, whether you're after bass, walleye, trout, or, yes, even channel cats. Go to mardonresort.com, book your trip today. So there you go. That's what's hot this week in the Pacific Northwest.
And with that, let's head to this week's national edition of America Outdoors Radio.
Looking for the safest, most stable riding boat on the market? Welcome to Stabicraft. Born in New Zealand, Stabicraft has a built-in reputation for making the most seaworthy boats on the market. Heavy-gauge aluminum chambered boats with models ranging from 14 to 29 feet in a variety of configurations to suit all your needs. Check out the all-new 2750 center cab, a walk-around design for the Northwest market and packed with industry-leading features to suit all types of fishing, allowing you to adventure with confidence. Book a test ride today at stabicraft.com.
Backcountry hunters and anglers, the men and women working hard to keep public lands in public hands. Check us out at backcountryhunters.org.
Are you an outfitter, sporting goods retailer, boat dealer, or someone else in the outdoors industry? If you are, you know targeted advertising works best, and what would work better than advertising with America Outdoors Radio? Our hour-long show is heard throughout Seattle, Everett, and the East Side every Saturday morning, and your message will be heard there too. Better still, our rates are way more affordable than you think. Want to find out more? Contact me, John Cruz, through my website at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. That's America Outdoors Radio, bringing you more business.
It's time for America Outdoors Radio, the show that covers the outdoor scene across the U.S. of A. and the entire continent. Fishing, hunting, conservation, outdoor recreation, and great destinations. We cover it all every week. It's your country, your outdoors. Let's explore it together with your host, John Cruz.
Welcome to the show, and we're starting things off by welcoming some new listeners on board. Again, this time, listeners in Soda Springs, Idaho are tuning in to our show on KBRV, AM 800 and FM 106.3. We've got folks hearing us for the first time as well in Evanston, Wyoming, and even on the outskirts of Logan and Ogden, Utah, catching us on KNYN FM 99.1, and WSDT has added us to their FM frequencies of 92.7 and 95.3, where we can be heard in Chattanooga, Tennessee. This puts us up to 45 stations where you can hear America Outdoors Radio around the nation. And considering the fact we just launched this show last June, we are gaining altitude faster than a flushing mallard off a pond. Thanks for joining us for the journey. This week on the show, we are taking you north to Alaska, but not to some of the places you are used to going. Nope. Our first stop is going to be Ketchikan, an easy-to-fly-to destination that offers some very good salmon fishing. Michael Briggs with Salmon Falls Resort will tell you more about that. Speaking of places you associate with other things, how about Valdez? If we were playing the word association game, I'm guessing the first thing that pops to mind is an oil tanker. And yes, you will find quite a few of those ships in this port, but Valdez is also hosting a halibut and salmon derby this summer, where the big fish winner for each contest can walk away with $15,000 in cash. Valdez is also a great place to visit in an RV, and we'll be talking to Rich Chafin with Bayside RV in Valdez, who will tell you not only about these topics, but also about a very entertaining attraction you'll want to see at his RV park involving bald eagles. Saltwater fishing almost always involves a boat, and if you're like me, you want to be on one that's pretty well unsinkable. One person who builds such vessels is Micah Bowers with Life-Proof Boats out of Bremerton, Washington. He'll join us to tell you more about these unique-looking craft that are truly made to order. In addition to boats for fishing, you'll want tackle too. That's where Brian X comes in. He is with Double X Tackle, formerly known as Rainbow Plastics out of Colorado, and you have probably seen or used their Adjust-A-Bubble bobber before, but they've got more than that, to include sockeye salmon and kokanee gear through their California-based company, Vance's Tackle. On the outdoors news front, we've got the scoop on what happened to Gander Mountain after they filed for bankruptcy, and information not about the bass tournament trail, but instead the crappie fishing tournament trail in our southern states, and your chance to participate in some of these competitive fishing events. Last but not least, we'll introduce you to the cutthroat trout. No, not the cutthroat you catch in the Rockies or the Cascade Mountains. I'm talking about the sea-run cutthroat you catch in the ocean and the tributaries running into it from Northern California all the way to Alaska. Richard Stoll, who has written a book about these fish, will enlighten you about these trout and how to catch them. There you go, a whole bunch of the outdoors coming at you over the next hour, and let's kick it off by heading to the self-proclaimed salmon capital of the world. Next on America Outdoors Radio, we're taking you to Alaska, to a place we haven't taken you to before. It's Ketchikan, and there's a resort there. It's called Salmon Falls Resort, where you can do guided fishing or self-guided fishing. With us here to tell us more about it is Michael Briggs. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you, John.
So, Michael, Ketchikan, Alaska, tell us a little bit about the fishing opportunities there.
Well, Ketchikan's unique in that we are on the Inside Passage. So we're known as the salmon capital of the world. All 5 species of Pacific salmon migrate through our waters throughout the course of the summer. You'll see kings, silvers, pinks, chum, even sockeye coming through the area. So you have the opportunity to fish all of those species of salmon, plus halibut, lean cod, and 40 species of rockfish in the waters right outside. So you have a smorgasbord of fish to catch here. And one of the benefits of being on the Inside Pass as well is that you can fish for both salmon and halibut on the same excursion, whereas in other parts of Alaska, you might have to dedicate an entire day to halibut fishing and a separate day for salmon fishing. Here, you'll fish for salmon and halibut every day that you go out. So you can fish for salmon in the morning, fish for halibut in the afternoon, vice versa, or even do both in both the afternoon and morning.
Well, you certainly have my interest. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about Salmon Falls Resort itself in terms of the lodging and the amenities?
Well, I mean, for a lodge of its size, it is probably the nicest resort in Southeast Alaska. We have over 40 rooms, guest rooms available for our customers that come through. We have both guided and self-guided fishing. We have top-notch guides that'll take you all over the inside passage here and get you on top of the fish. Or if you're more of a do-it-yourself guy, we can put you into a skiff, give you all the bait, tackle, and equipment. And honestly, you can go just right out in front of the lodge and catch as much salmon as you can imagine.
Most of your trips are these 3-day trips, 5-day trips, 7-day trips, and tell me about the food as well. I'm a big foodie, so I'm always interested in what I get to eat.
Well, and there's a couple of benefits with coming to Salmon Falls along that line as well. Number one, there is no minimum stay. You're not locked into a 5-day, 7-day, 10-day trip. If you wanted to come up on Friday, fish Saturday, leave Sunday, you'd be more than welcome to do that. It's not required for you to stay with us for X amount of days in order to book a package with us. We're happy to have you for 1 or 2 days, or if you want to stretch it out for 1 or 2 weeks, you're welcome to do that as well. And then, unlike many lodges in Alaska, we don't have a set menu. So, many places where you go, you come in on after a day of fishing and they'll have salmon fillets and roasted potatoes and green beans as your dinner, and there's not a whole lot of flexibility there. We have a full-service menu. So if you're tired of salmon, you can get halibut. If you're tired of halibut, you can order crab legs. If you're tired of seafood, and I don't know anybody who ever gets tired of seafood, but if you are, you can order a steak. It's all up to you, and every night, the menu is what you want to eat as opposed to what the chef is serving, which is nice.
I really like that. And breakfast and lunch, I presume this is kind of the, breakfast is take with you continental breakfast and lunch is a sack lunch?
Well, breakfast is, like a buffet. It's a full hot breakfast for you before you go out fishing, and then we do provide a box lunch for you to take out onto the charter. If you were doing some self-guided fishing, you'd be welcome to just come back into the lodge and order lunch. You're not required to take a box out with you. You can do it by coming back into the resort, no problem there. The food, though, is dynamite. If you were dropped off on the dock in Ketchikan and asked a local, where should I eat while I'm here? 9 out of 10 of them are going to tell you, go out to Salmon Falls if you have time, because the food out at Salmon Falls is wonderful.
Sounds like a great recommendation to me. One other thing to ask you about here is getting those fish back home. Are you cleaning them yourself, or is that taken care of along with the packaging, processing, and everything else?
Yeah, when you get a package from us, everything's included. So your lodging, your meals, the fishing, and, of course, fish processing is a part of that, too. So we fillet it all down to 1-pound fillets, individually vacuum pack each of those, freeze them, and box them. We box them in such a way that the airline allows you to check it like luggage. So check 2 suitcases, that's 100 pounds of fish coming back with you. A lot of the more remote Alaskan lodges, you're limited to how much fish you can bring back because maybe you took a float plane out to that area and there's weight restrictions coming back. We are connected by road to the airport here. So if you've caught 500 pounds of fish, we'd box it all for you, and you'd be allowed to take that with you when you left.
And the other great thing about Ketchikan is that there's direct flights to Seattle on Alaska Airlines, isn't there?
Yeah, actually, like 6 or 7 a day. If you're coming in from anywhere, you will switch planes in Seattle, and from there, it's only a 90-minute flight.
Well, there you go, folks. Ketchikan, Alaska, and Salmon Falls Resort. It's easy to get there and get back. They offer guided or less expensive self-guided fishing trips. The fishing's great, and the food is fantastic. To find out more, go to their website. It's salmonfallsresort.com. That's salmonfallsresort.com. Book your trip for this summer right now. Michael, thanks for telling us all about this on America Outdoors Radio.
Thanks, John.
Tillamook Bay is considered the greatest fishing experience on the west coast for fall Chinook salmon and winter steelhead, and Dungeness crab is plentiful. 5 major rivers connect with the ocean on the Tillamook coast. It's not unusual to snag a 40 to 50 pounder. Go out in a boat or stand on a riverbank or dock, try fishing from a dory boat, and experience the thrill of a beach launch and landing. Use spinners, sand shrimp, or salmon eggs to lure them. The fish will line up to grab your bait. Go to tillamookcoast.com/fishing to find guides and places to stay.
The Caddis Game Changer breathable waders are going to change the way you fish. You've always counted on Caddis waders to keep you warm and dry through the years, and Caddis never lets you down. Now comes the Game Changer. It's the same tough durability and the addition of a zippered hard pouch pocket that opens up to become a work shelf. Now you can change accessories on the water for maximum flexibility. Look for Caddis Game Changer breathable waders wherever quality fishing products are sold or online at caddiswaders.com.
Is your firearm BORTEC clean? BORTEC offers a full line of premium firearm cleaning and maintenance products. They redefine gun care and offer serious shooters the clean and well-maintained firearm you need to make the most accurate shots at the range or in the field. BORTEC products set the benchmark and make gun care simple, quick, and effective. Find out more at BORTEC.com. That's BORTEC.com and use the code RADIO to get a 10% discount on your first order.
The Deadfoot Arms Modified Cycle System with folding stock adapter is the only drop-in side folder for the AR-15 rifle that allows for full weapons function with the stock folded or deployed. 100% combat veteran-owned and operated, all products made in the USA. Contact Deadfoot Arms at 608-764-3176, 608-764-3176, or log on to deadfootarms.com to upgrade your rifle today. That's deadfootarms.com.
So let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was traveling up to the Cowlitz River to do a little steelhead fishing. Right about this time of year, I hit a sheet of black ice, and in a matter of seconds, I had $50,000 worth of boat laying in a ditch upside down. My first call was to my insurance company, a company that if you own a boat, you need to know about. The company is called the Boat Insurance Agency, and they're located right here in the Northwest. In a very short amount of time, my totaled boat, a situation that could have sunk me, was resurrected and made right. I've since learned that my outcome isn't always the case for others, which is why you need to be sure your boat insurance is being handled by boat insurance experts. This is what they do, folks. Visit them on the web at boatinsurance.net. That's boatinsurance.net. The Boat Insurance Agency. Hey, this is a call you have to make. You need to know that your boat is really covered. boatinsurance.net.
Springtime is prime time to head to Mardon Resort to fish, hike, boat, and see wildlife. Park your RV, pitch a tent, or rent a wonderful park cottage at Central Washington's Potholes Reservoir and go play outside. When it comes to relaxing and enjoying the outdoors, Mardon is the place to be. To find out more, log on to mardonresort.com. That's mardonresort.com to book your next getaway, where the fish bite, but we don't.
Service is always cheaper than repair. That's a truism from Ken Estes at Cascade Marine Center in Portland, Oregon. Go ahead and drop by and see Cascade Marine for all of the parts, accessories, and honest advice you need to keep your boat and motor running. No one wants to be the guy plugging the boat ramp up because his boat doesn't start. So head down to Cascade Marine Center in Portland or give them a call or check out their website at cascademarinecenter.com. You're back with America Outdoors Radio, and this portion of the show is brought to you by the Alaska Sporting Journal, covering not just fishing and hunting in our great northern state, but also outdoors adventure, vacation travel, and more. Look for it at a newsstand near you. Next up, we're taking you to Alaska, specifically Valdez, Alaska, because on May 20th, a halibut derby is taking place there. With us here to tell you more about it is Rich Chafin. He is the owner of Bayside RV in Valdez. Rich, welcome to the show.
Good morning, John.
So, Rich, tell our listeners a little bit about the Valdez Halibut Derby.
Well, actually, John, we have, it's called the Valdez Fish Derbies because it includes about 5 different derbies that run from May 20th to September 3rd. It starts off with a halibut derby on May 20th, and throughout the season we have the silver salmon derby, we have the halibut hullabaloo, the women's silver salmon derby, and the kids' pink salmon derby. So we have lots of fishing and derbies throughout the season.
Wow, I had no idea. And I'll be honest with you, Rich, when it comes to fishing, I don't think of Valdez as the go-to place. Whenever I think of Valdez, I think I'm like a lot of other people. I think of it as the place where the Alaska pipeline ends and all those oil tankers are loading up on oil. Had no idea there was such good fishing there.
Yeah, actually, John, it's or has been Alaska's best-kept secret. More and more people are discovering Valdez and the fantastic fishing that we have here.
One more thing we need to talk about when it comes to these fishing derbies is the prize money, because there's some serious money to be made here. As a matter of fact, the winner of the Valdez Halibut Derby, which starts again in May, goes until September 3rd, is $15,000 for the first place, the biggest fish. Likewise, $15,000 goes to the winner of the Silver Salmon Derby, and there is a raffle where everybody who enters any one of the derbies we've talked about gets a chance to win at the end of the season $10,000 if their ticket is drawn, whether or not they catch a single fish. So here's another question for you, Rich. When it comes to Valdez, are you fishing protected waters, or are you having to go out in some pretty rough seas there?
Well, the port here, right in Valdez, is a very protected port, and that's where most of the silver salmon derby takes place when the silvers come in August. To go after your halibut, you can go further out into Prince William Sound, and some actually get out into the Gulf of Alaska. So it depends. Sometimes the weather can get a little rough out there, but the charter operators watch the weather real carefully, and they just won't go out if they're predicting bad weather.
And my next question is, do you have quite a few charter operators that operate out of Valdez?
We do. I'm not sure how many we've got this year. It fluctuates every year, but we do have a lot that do both the halibut and the silver fishing in August.
And what about the do-it-yourself angler who's basically towing a boat? Is that an option as well?
Oh, yes, definitely. You can get out here and, depending on the weather and whatnot, you can get out into some good halibut fishing just close by. And then, of course, the silvers and the pinks, once they come in, they're close by. As well as anglers can fish from shore. Once the salmon get in the port here, we have a place called Ellison Point over there. It's real popular. It's hard to find a parking place sometimes, actually, because so many people fish there. And along with the fish, once they come in, the salmon, everything else is there. The bears, the sea lions, sea otters, eagles. It's quite a sight to see when the fish are in.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're making me want to go to Valdez, and I've got to ask about this shore fishing opportunity. Is this for the pinks? Is this for the silvers? What are you fishing for from shore?
Both, the pink salmon and the silvers. Again, once they're in the port, you can actually catch them even on the Valdez side of the port. We've actually had 2 fish in last year's Silver Salmon Derby that placed that were actually caught in the small boat harbor.
Wow.
Yeah, once they get in, they flood the port pretty good, and you can catch them in quite a few different places from shore. And again, as well as the boats, when the derbies start, the harbor's filled with boats with people fishing.
All right, well, all sorts of reasons to go fishing at Valdez. Again, the Halibut Derby kicks off May 20th, and following that, there's all sorts of derbies that run through the summer for salmon as well, both silvers and pinks. Let's talk about places to stay, and that's especially where you come in with Bayside RV. Tell us a little bit about what you have to offer.
Well, we have 120 sites here at the park. We're located right on the bay. We have a waterfowl refuge out in front of the park. We get all kinds of waterfowl in here, about 20 different species of birds, from ducks and eagles to herring and sandpipers. And then just beyond the waterfowl refuge is the bay. So we've got a beautiful view here, a 360-degree view of the mountains that surround Valdez, and they average about a mile high. And you can see about 8 or 10 glaciers right here from the park. So we offer all the amenities, hot showers, bathrooms, full hookups, tent sites. So, yeah, it's really a great place to be able to stay. You were right close to the harbor, a block and a half from the harbor, and all the restaurants and attractions are within walking distance.
Sounds like a great place to stay to me. And I understand that in the month of May, you've got a special attraction that you put on every day. Tell our listeners about that.
We do. We actually have one of the only permits in the state of Alaska that allows us to feed the eagles. So from May 1st through mid-June, we feed the eagles right here at the park every day at 5 o'clock. I feed about 22 pounds of herring a day. Yesterday we had 41 eagles come in for that. And again, it runs through mid-June, and it's not because the permit ends, it's because the eagles quit coming. Once the salmon come in and they start getting into the streams, the eagles prefer that fresh sushi over my frozen herring.
Well, you can't blame them for that, can you, Rich? All right, one last question for you here, Rich. When it comes to getting to Valdez, obviously we don't have to explain that to our listeners tuning in from Anchorage, but what about our listeners in the States? If they wanted to bring their RV up and stay with you, how would they do that?
Well, the best way is, of course, there's only one road up to Alaska. And then another option that's become quite popular is renting an RV. So we have a lot of people that fly into Anchorage. There's 4 or 5 companies there that rent RVs. And you can rent an RV and then, travel around Alaska, come down and see us. If you choose to stop in and see us, you can make reservations right online at our website, BaysideRV.com. And then you can also check us out on Facebook. We post quite often on there with videos and pictures and kind of get an idea of what it looks like around Valdez and what it has to offer.
Well, Rich, I'll tell you what, you've certainly opened my eyes. I think you've opened up a lot of our listeners' eyes as well. So, folks, if you want to check out Valdez, Alaska, and Bayside RV, you can do it by traveling up the Alcan Highway and making it a big, weeks-long expedition, or simply fly into Anchorage, rent an RV, head down to Valdez, and get a spot at Bayside RV. Watch the eagle watching that happens every day into mid-June. Bring your fishing poles and head on out for halibut and for salmon and more. And take in all the wildlife that's there too. And of course, the glaciers and the mountains. Sounds like an incredible experience. The website to go to, BaysideRV.com. That's BaysideRV.com. Rich, thanks for telling us about this on America Outdoors Radio.
You bet, John.
Garibaldi Charters offers fantastic fishing for salmon, tuna, halibut, and bottomfish off the North Oregon coast. With only an hour-and-a-half drive from Beaverton, you can get here in a hurry and go fishing. 2 of our more popular offerings include private charters for salmon and live bait tuna fishing. We can also accommodate groups of up to 20 people on our boats. Book your adventure now at GaribaldiCharters.com or call 1-800-900-HOOK. That's 1-800-900-HOOK or GaribaldiCharters.com.
Hughes Craft is the Pacific Northwest best-selling boat. It's a family fishing boat that has been providing the most safety, fishability, and the best value to Northwest boaters since 1948. Hughes Craft's welded aluminum boats are built for serious fishermen with plenty of room for fighting fish, not the rest of the crew. Our state-of-the-art design allows for pure fishing functionality and the durability to last season after season, year after year, and decade after decade. To find the Hughes Craft dealer nearest you, visit HughesCraft.com.
It's time for another local shot of the outdoors. It's the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio, and you'll only hear it here on Fox Sports 1380 KRKO.
All right, it's time for the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio, and there's a big kokanee derby coming up on Lake Stevens. It's happening May 20th. With us here to tell you more about it is Mark Spada with the Snohomish Sportsman's Club. Mark, tell us more about the Lake Stevens Kokanee Derby.
So this is our 8th annual derby, and we're going to be holding it on May 20th this year. And we've got lots of great prizes and kids derby and lots of merchandise prizes, so we're hoping for a big turnout.
Well, how big is the turnout normally?
So over the past few years, we've usually had about 200 to 250 adults and about 50 to 75. So we're usually having a total attendance of about 300, maybe a little over 300, but that's a good round number for the Lake Stevens that we're holding the Derby on.
Well, Mark, that's a great turnout, and you can't beat the price of admission. It's only $20 for adults. Kids 14 and under are free, and you've got some great prizes. $1,000 for the big fish, $500 gift card for the biggest 10 fish limit, and kids prizes up to $100. Where can folks buy tickets so they can participate in the Lake Stevens Kokanee Derby on the 20th?
So our ticket locations are Greg's right there in the Lake Stevens, John's in Everett, Ted's in Linwood, Triangle Bait in Snohomish, and Three Rivers Marine in Woodinville, and then Holiday Sports up in Burlington.
It's the Lake Stevens Kokanee Derby, and stick around at the end of the show. Mark's going to give you some tips on how you can catch some of those kokanee and maybe win that $1,000 Big Fish prize. Thanks, Mark.
Appreciate the support.
There's a whole bunch more of the great outdoors coming your way on Fox Sports 1380.
Rad Power Bikes is an electric bike manufacturer offering direct-to-consumer pricing on powerful premium electric bikes. Because they sell direct to you, the consumer, you won't see the large retail markup that would be present if you were buying from a third party or a dealer, ensuring you're always getting a performance e-bike at a fraction of the cost. Visit radpowerbikes.com or call 1-800-939-0310 to learn more about their models or to place an order. Join Rad Power Bikes in jump-starting the electric bike revolution today.
Been to Mardon Resort lately? If not, you're missing out on some great fun. Whether you're an angler, boater, bird watcher, or hunter, you'll find a ton of stuff to do here at Potholes Reservoir. You can camp, RV, or try one of the brand new cottages. No matter where you stay, you'll enjoy playing outside in sunny Central Washington. To reserve your next outdoors adventure, call 1-800-416-2736 or log on to mardonresort.com. You're back with America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Northwest Sportsman Magazine. It is the monthly magazine that covers everything that's happening outdoors in the Pacific Northwest. One thing that is happening in the Northwest is innovation. That's right. We've got some boat builders in the Northwest that are coming out with some really great watercraft that you as a consumer, especially if you're a saltwater angler, are going to be excited about. With us here to tell us more about life-proof boats is Micah Bowers. He's with Inventec Marine out of Bremerton, Washington. Micah, great to have you back on the show.
Hey, John, it's great to be back. Thank you for having us.
So, why don't you tell us about life-proof boats and explain how they're different than other fishing boats on the market?
You bet. I'd be glad to. So we say life-proof boats. That's the name of our brand because our boats are just like they say they are. They are virtually unsinkable. They're an all-welded aluminum boat that is designed to have safety features so that you can take it out and you can fish 20 miles offshore or you can fish inland in the rivers, and you're going to be safe and secure while you do that and feel confident that you're going to be in the safest boat you can be.
Lots of folks promote their safe and rugged and reliable boats, but you have something that's truly different on your boats that other aluminum boats don't have. Why don't you explain that?
So the first thing you're going to notice about all of our boats is that they have a stabilizing collar on the outside of the boat. And what that is that's a foam-filled tube that runs along the length of the boat to provide flotation and buoyancy if you were to have a wave come inside the boat or have a large amount of water get inside your boat. Most boats have a bilge pump to get that water out. Well, our boats are designed to have welded, watertight decks. So we actually have an aluminum welded down deck. And that deck is located in a manner above the bottom of this flotation collar so that if water gets in the boat, the flotation collar provides buoyancy and all that water rushes right out through those deck scuppers. So you have a true self-bailing deck, and this collar oftentimes will support 10 to 20,000 pounds of load. So even if you fill the boat all the way to the gunnels, that water is going to empty itself out of the boat, and a lot of times it's under 60 seconds.
Incredible. And I guess the best analogy for this is it's almost like having a life jacket for your boat, isn't it?
That's exactly right. You know, a lot of people, the purchase of their boat is one of the largest things that they purchase in their lifetime. And we have all been out on the water and experienced some sort of situation where it's been uncomfortable due to weather or changing conditions. With our boats, you don't have to worry about that. If you get in a situation where you might have water in the boat or something happens and you get caught up in some nasty stuff, just know you're in the safest boat you can be, and your boat has that life jacket on it, just like you hopefully do, so it's going to keep you safe all the time.
So when it comes to life-proof boats, who's buying these? I know these are fairly new boats.
They are. So what we have tried to establish here is a brand that's available to the consumer with technology that's usually been used mainly by government agencies and police around the country, even around the world. So we have products that are being used by police agencies, but really the goal of Life-Proof Boats is to get the technology out and make it a price point product that people all around the U.S. can afford.
You know, I look at these boats and I think to myself quite a few purposes. Number one, both inshore and offshore saltwater anglers would do very well with these boats. Charter boat captains, these would be great boats for charter boat captains, whether they're fishing charter boat captains or maybe like whale watching boats.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of great uses. We have boats that are operating in Hawaii for snorkelers, taking them out to Molokini. We have boats we're working on that are going up into the San Juans for whale watching, like you mentioned. We've even done boats in the past that are drop bows for loading ATVs, equipment up in North Alaska, and they work extremely well in those conditions.
Micah, we are running short on time, and we've talked about this on the radio, but we really need to direct people to a place where they can see and really take in what these boats look like and what they're all about. What's the website we need to send them to?
You need to go to lifeproofboats.com. We have a lot of great video content, a lot of great pictures. You're going to see a lot of interesting boats. These boats are built to order, so a client can get exactly what they need. We'll design something for you. That's what we do. We're a custom boat builder.
That's lifeproofboats.com. Check it out. It's the boat that basically has a life jacket for you. Next up on America Outdoors Radio, we're taking you to Colorado. That's where we are talking to Brian X. He is with Double X Tackle. He's also with Vance's Tackle Company and Rainbow Plastics. Brian, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Well, Brian, you're a man who wears quite a few hats. Why don't you tell us the story? And I guess we'll start with Rainbow Plastics, the makers of what everybody has seen out there for years, that bobber known as the Adjust-A-Bubble.
You bet. Well, Rainbow Plastics started in the early 70s with the creation of the Adjust-A-Bubble, which you mentioned in our lead-in. And since then, they've grown products over the years, so we're a full-line company. My father and I bought the company probably 20 years ago at this point, and we've continued to grow it, introducing new products along the way, and the entire time making sure that we manufactured everything here in the United States, which is something that is really important to us.
Oh, absolutely. So Rainbow Plastics has kind of morphed into Double X Tackle. What does Double X Tackle make for anglers?
Well, we're the exact same company. Really, the only thing that changed for us was the name. We were having an issue with duplicate names. There are, believe it or not, a lot of Rainbow Plastic companies out there. Make everything from pool parts to chemical toilets. And I only know that because I fielded phone calls for all of the above. So we knew it was a problem, and we talked about it for a lot of years and decided we needed a name change. And given that our last name is pronounced X, there was two of us. We figured what better name than Double X Tackle to represent who we are and what we do.
And I bet those calls about chemical toilets have gone way, way down, haven't they?
They have, gratefully.
That's funny. All right. So Double X Tackle is the name of the company now instead of Rainbow Plastics. So Brian, when it comes to Double X Tackle, is there any new products you're excited about for 2017?
We have a handful of new products coming out. We're doing planer boards now. We have an ultra-lightweight planer board called the Original Clear board. So rather than having to pull, a 1 pound, 1.5 pound board, we have a 6-ounce board that will work just as well. We're also getting into hand-tied flies. something that everybody has always used, been synonymous with our bubbles. You're not going to be able to get that directly from us.
Fantastic. And folks, those Adjust-A-Bubbles, if you're an Alpine Lakes fisherman like I am, and like a lot of folks are in Colorado, where Double X Tackle is based, these Adjust-A-Bubbles with spinning rods work great. Tie a fly on the end, give it a whirl. You're going to get some cutthroat trout and more.
Absolutely. It's a lot of fun.
But wait, as they say, there's more, because you got another company that's part of the family as well, Vance's Tackle. Tell us the Vance's Tackle story.
You bet. Well, Vance's Tackle was started by Vance Staplin out of Sacramento, California in the early 90s, and we used to supply components for him. And as he grew over the years, he needed more and more help with the manufacturing, and we realized it just made sense to partner up together. So Vance got folded into the Double X family, and he is still an active member of what we do. In the Vance's Tackle line, we make trolling gear for kokanee trout and salmon.
You sure do, and some good-looking gear, too. So we are starting to run short on time. But again, folks, if you want to take a look at some tackle that will work really well for kokanee, trout, and salmon, we're not just talking about lures here. We're talking about troll rigs. We're talking about flashers. We're even talking about fishing rods. Check out Vance's Tackle. If you want to get the iconic Adjust-A-Bubble bobber or some other tackle from Double X Tackle, what's the website folks ought to go to?
doublextackle.com.
And if folks go to the old website of rainbowplastics.com, are they going to find chemical toilets, or are they going to find something else there?
No, they'll find all of our great fishing tackle. It'll land them at the same place that Double X does.
All right, your choice, folks. doublextackle.com or rainbowplastics.com. We promise we're not going to flush you down the toilet if you go to either one. No. You're going to find some great fishing tackle products that you can use for all sorts of applications. And better still, it's all made right here in the USA. Brian, thanks for telling us about this on America Outdoors Radio.
Thanks for having me.
It started in 1971 with the Adjust-A-Bubble fishing float. Since then, Double X Tackle has grown into one of the premier American manufacturers of fishing tackle. The core values of the family-owned company have never changed. Make the best fishing tackle possible at the best price, and make it in the United States. Available at quality tackle dealers or online at doublextackle.com, where X marks the spot for quality and X marks the spot for value. doublextackle.com.
LifeProof Boats is a Northwest Factory Direct boat manufacturer that builds the highest grade aluminum boats. All aluminum boats are not created equal. Our foam collared boats are virtually unsinkable, incredibly stable, and outperform anything on the water. You wear a life jacket, so why wouldn't you want one on your boat? The purchase of your boat is one of the largest purchases you'll make in your lifetime. Find out why we are a step above by going to lifeproofboats.com, lifeproofboats.com for the innovative boat of a lifetime.
Service is always cheaper than repair. That's a truism from Ken Estes at Cascade Marine Center in Portland, Oregon. Go ahead and drop by and see Cascade Marine for all of the parts, accessories, and honest advice you need to keep your boat and motor running. No one wants to be the guy plugging the boat ramp up because his boat doesn't start. So head down to Cascade Marine Center in Portland, or give them a call, or check out their website at cascademarinecenter.com.
So let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was traveling up to the Cowlitz River to do a little steelhead fishing. Right about this time of year, I hit a sheet of black ice, and in a matter of seconds, I had $50,000 worth of boat laying in a ditch upside down. My first call was to my insurance company, a company that if you own a boat, you need to know about. The company is called the Boat Insurance Agency, and they're located right here in the Northwest. In a very short amount of time, my totaled boat, a situation that could have sunk me, was resurrected and made right. I've since learned that my outcome isn't always the case for others, which is why you need to be sure your boat insurance is being handled by boat insurance experts. This is what they do, folks. Visit them on the web at boatinsurance.net. That's boatinsurance.net. The Boat Insurance Agency. Hey, this is a call you have to make. You need to know that your boat is really covered. boatinsurance.net.
Rad Power Bikes is an electric bike manufacturer offering direct-to-consumer pricing on powerful premium electric bikes. Because they sell direct to you, the consumer, you won't see the large retail markup that would be present if you were buying from a third party or a dealer, ensuring you're always getting a performance e-bike at a fraction of the cost. Visit radpowerbikes.com or call 1-800-939-0310 to learn more about their models or to place an order. Join Rad Power Bikes in jump-starting the electric bike revolution today.
Welcome back to America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. It's time for some outdoors news, and it's brought to you by the American Shooting Journal, the publication that covers the firearms and shooting sports scene every month. Look for it at a newsstand near you. We've got big news in the outdoors retail universe from Reuters and the Fishing Wire and other sources. We can tell you Camping World, America's largest RV dealer, along with a group of liquidators, won a bankruptcy auction for Minnesota-based Gander Mountain Company on April 28th. The winning bidders are rumored to have paid around $390 million, outbidding Sportsman's Warehouse, which was hoping to expand its western U.S. footprint into the Midwest, where many of Gander Mountain's stores are found. Sportsman's Warehouse was likely going to operate the majority of Gander Mountain stores under their banner, but Camping World has different plans. The company, run by Marcus Lemonis, who stars on the CNBC TV reality show The Profit, plans to operate 17 Gander Mountain stores as a going concern. However, the remaining 100-plus stores will likely be auctioned off in the near future. Camping World not only took over the store chain, but they also won Gander Mountain's boating and marine business known as Overton's. Turning to fishing, we spend a lot of time talking about bass fishing tournaments, but did you know there are crappie tournaments too? It's true. I love crappie fishing. I mean, it is fun, and I'm proud to say I've caught a few whoppers in my time that have measured, well, about 15 and a half inches or so and weighed about 1.5 pounds. Almost makes me think I ought to compete on the American Crappie Trail. Who knows? Maybe I should give this whole radio job and become a professional crappie angler, right? Well, maybe I'm not that good, but I'll tell you what, there's some serious prizes to be won on this circuit. The latest winners fishing April 1st at Lake Darbon in Louisiana caught 24 pounds of crappie and took home a prize package worth $26,000, which included a brand new 18-foot Ranger fishing boat. That's a nice prize. Have I gotten your interest yet? Well, if you are a crappie angler and think you're pretty good at it, here's where the remaining tournaments are taking place this year. The next one's happening at Kentucky Lake near Paris, Tennessee on May 19th and the 20th. June 23rd and 24th, the American Crappie Trail will be at Sardis Lake in Mississippi. And on August 11th and 12th, they'll be competing at Truman Lake in Missouri. The registration deadline, if you want to participate in any of these tournaments, is this weekend. As a matter of fact, you've got to register by Sunday the 14th. Find out more and sign up now at AmericanCrappieTrail.com. That's AmericanCrappieTrail.com. Next up on America Outdoors Radio, we're talking to Richard Stoll. He's a long-time author, outdoors writer, and fly fisherman who hails from Hillsboro, Washington, and he's got a brand new book out called Sea Run Cutthroat Trout. Richard, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, Richard, a lot of people have heard of steelhead, those ocean-going rainbow trout, but I think most people, when they think of the cutthroat trout, they think of catching them in mountain streams in the Rockies or the Cascades. Tell us about the sea run cutthroat trout as a species.
Well, I think most people are right about that. The sea run cutthroat trout is a coastal cutthroat trout. The difference is that the streams that they live in empty into salt water. And so, like steelhead, they run to salt water for parts of their lives. They don't migrate as far, and they're available along saltwater beaches.
So, Richard, when it comes to steelhead, they go out small from their freshwater, and they come back in a couple years big. But sea run cutthroat, not so much.
No, they don't. They migrate to saltwater at 2 to 3 years of age, 8 to 10 inches in length, and they spend some months in the saltwater, sometimes up to a year, before migrating back to freshwater. They're inshore fish. They're very close to shoreline, and they're in very shallow water. They don't run to deep water like steelhead do.
So, you being a fly angler, I know that you love fishing for sea run cutthroat, and you're not the only one. This is a sport that's really picking up. Just generally speaking here, when it comes to their range, I know you can find them all the way from California to Alaska. Let's go state by state. We'll start in California and talk about just generally places to look for sea run cutthroats, whether you're a fly angler or a spin gear angler.
And you're right. They're under somewhat of a recent siege. People seem to have discovered them. They occur along the coast from the EL River in northern California, clear up through some of the tributaries to Prince William Sound. We find them along the beaches, along all of those areas in the coastal lagoons and estuaries. In California, Humboldt Bay, Stone Lagoon, Lake Earl and Tarawa are places where we'll find them. In Oregon, the coastal rivers like the Siletz, the Nistucca, the Alsea, and also some of the bays like Newport, Lincoln, and Tillamook. In Washington, they're very, very popular in South Puget Sound, but throughout Puget Sound, inner Puget Sound, not so much the coastlines. In British Columbia, the east side of Vancouver Island, Burrard Inlet, Seashell Peninsula, and even up to the Queen Charlottes. But I like to fish these things a lot in Alaska, on Prince of Wales Island and Baranof Island.
Interesting. All right. So let's talk about catching them. And you being the fly fisherman you are, we'll start off with that. Are you using a spey rod, or are you just using a 5-weight fly rod?
No, these are very, very near shore fish. You find them often in several inches of water when they're chasing salmon fry, but usually not much more than 6 feet of water at the most. So they're close into shore. We're not using spey rods or anything like that. We're using standard fly rods, 6 weights, 7 weights. And just working shorelines.
All right, so I'm going to guess here. I'm a spinner guy, not a fly guy. But if I had to guess, I'm guessing that you're probably casting streamers at them.
We cast all sorts of bait imitations, little crustaceans and things like that. But we do them with dry flies a lot also.
Really?
And one of the famous dry flies that we use a lot is the Miyawaki popper, which is an injured baitfish imitation on the surface. Butlers and things like that also. So much streamers, but we do fish some streamers when the baitfish are around, particularly baby chum salmon.
Well, it just goes to prove another reason why I'm a hardware angler instead of a fly angler. And I'm guessing for those hardware anglers out there, and folks, consider catching and releasing these fish. So consider using single barbless hooks, keeping them in the water when you catch them so they can live to fight another day, and better still, to go ahead and spawn so there's more of these fish. Are we talking spoons and spinners?
Yeah, spoons and spinners, basically. Dick Knight spoons and things like that are fairly popular amongst the hardware anglers. We're not seeing as many hardware anglers out there as we used to in years past. Possibly that's due to the restrictions on these fish. In most areas, they are catch and release. Certainly in Puget Sound, you cannot keep them, and they're barbless hook also in most areas, and that includes British Columbia. So, spoons do work.
All right. Last but not least, because believe it or not, we're already out of time. Where can folks get your book, Sea Run Cutthroat Trout?
They can order it through Amazon.com. Most coastal fly fishing shops in Washington and Oregon will have them in stock. And, of course, they can get them on my website, which is www.westsoundangler.com.
All right. The book, again, is Sea Run Cutthroat Trout. It's by Richard Stoll. Look for it at Amazon.com, at fly shops up and down the northwest coastline, or at westsoundangler.com. That's westsoundangler.com. The Sea Run Cutthroat, it's a new type of trout fishing you probably have not done before. Give it a try and pick up the book to find out more about it. Richard, thanks for telling us all about this on America Outdoors Radio.
Thanks, John.
I'm afraid we are running out of time again this week, but if you get a chance, go to our Facebook page. You'll find it when you search for American Outdoors Radio. Look for the post where the Leupold binoculars are. Like our page and simply put on the post what state you're from, and you're entered for a chance to win a pair of Leupold Rogue binoculars. We're going to give them away to one lucky person once we hit 1,000 likes on our page, and we are starting to get pretty close. While you're surfing the web, check out our website at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. You'll find stations and air times near you, whether you're at home or you're going to be on the road. And you can listen to us online on WRVO Radio. That website, RenoViolaOutdoors.com, an internet channel dedicated to outdoors programming. Another channel dedicated to outdoors programming is our YouTube channel. Just go to Northwestern Outdoors. That's our YouTube channel. And follow us as we publish this show as a podcast along with our sister show, Northwestern Outdoors Radio. We've got to go. But I hope you are blessed in the week ahead and that you are making plans for some great late spring and early summer getaways, whether they involve spring turkey hunting, early season hiking, fishing trips to Alaska, a weekend on the crappie fishing circuit, or casting a fly for sea-run cutthroat trout. Remember, it's your country and your outdoors.
Hi, I'm Craig Boddington. I've written about hunting for 40 years, much of it in bear country. I trust my life to bear spray because the research is in. It stopped bears 92% of the time and prevented injury 98% of the time. Bear spray requires less accuracy and won't harm your companions or the bear. Carry bear spray in bear country. Keep it accessible and practice.
It's time for another local shot of the outdoors. It's the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio, and you'll only hear it here on Fox Sports 1380 KRKO.
All right, folks, as promised, Mark Spada with the Snohomish Sportsman's Club is back to give you some advice on how to catch that big fish in the Lake Stevens Kokanee Derby taking place May 20th. If you were out there, what would you do to bring home the biggest kokanee?
Well, there's about 2 or 3 things that I would arm myself with if I was fishing Lake Stevens. For sure, you would need to have a set of different colored dodgers and maybe some different size dodgers. And then you pair them up with either some kind of a spinner, some kind of a small squid, or maybe sometimes even some kind of the small flies that emulate some of the food source that's going on in Lake Stevens. And then I think the real key to Lake Stevens is there's really 2 things. One is having really good bait and offering several different options on your bait. You know, garlic's popular, squid's popular, krill's popular, tuna's popular. Just a combination of different corns to offer the fish because just like everywhere else, kokanee and Lake Stevens can be real finicky, and it can be one thing one day and completely change the next. So throw around at about 1.2 to 1.5. Try and find them on your depth sounder. If you find them, stay on them, and you'll probably have pretty good success.
Well, there you go. There's some great advice so you can maybe get that $1,000 big fish or maybe get the $500 gift card for the biggest 10 fish limit. It's the Lake Stevens Kokanee Derby. It's taking place May 20th. You can buy tickets to participate all the way up until the 20th at sporting goods stores throughout the area. Mark, thanks for telling us about this, and thanks to you and the Snohomish Sportsman's Club and the Lake Stevens Lions Club for putting on this event for its 8th year.
Garibaldi Charters offers fantastic fishing for salmon, tuna, halibut, and bottomfish off the North Oregon coast. With only an hour-and-a-half drive from Beaverton, you can get here in a hurry and go fishing. 2 of our more popular offerings include private charters for salmon and live bait tuna fishing. We can also accommodate groups of up to 20 people on our boats. Book your adventure now at GaribaldiCharters.com or call 1-800-900-HOOK. That's 1-800-900-HOOK or GaribaldiCharters.com.
Are you an outfitter, sporting goods retailer, boat dealer, or someone else in the outdoors industry? If you are, you know targeted advertising works best, and what would work better than advertising with America Outdoors Radio? Our hour-long show is heard throughout Seattle, Everett, and the East Side every Saturday morning, and your message will be heard there too. Better still, our rates are way more affordable than you think. Want to find out more? Contact me, John Cruz, through my website at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. That's America Outdoors Radio, bringing you more business.